So one of the best things that's happened with the growth of the secular homeschool community are the choices of curriculum, online programs, micro schools, co-ops. Now, I know some of you live in areas where it's not as easy to find these. And so for those of you, this choosing curriculum episode is going to be particularly important. Unfortunately, with the number of choices, it makes it so much harder to choose. How can you find something that's going to work for your learner? Well, in this episode, I'm going to go through some criteria you can use. Welcome to This is Homeschooling. I'm your host, Blair Lee. I've got more good news for you, and that is that I am going to give you lots of tips to help you choose. I also have more bad news for you. I am not going to name names. There are simply too many choices these days. Yay! Even more importantly, in order to give each of you the meaningful feedback and information that you need to help you choose specific curriculum, I would actually need to know some of the specific parameters of your child for a learner-centered approach to choosing curriculum. The first thing I'm going to tell you might come as a surprise. I'm an experienced curriculum developer. I have written a lot of curriculum, and I'm in the process of writing more. No curriculum is right for everyone. Yep, you heard it here. Anytime a publisher tells you or an author tells you that their program, their curriculum, their co-op, their micro school is the best or is right, they're leaving out one of the most important things, and that is for some children, for some parents. And so I want you to realize that listening to someone else's review is great to get, but it doesn't tell you the whole story, and it actually doesn't tell you that it's going to work for your child. All it tells you is it's going to work for their child. From my years of working with learners between the ages of kindergarten through adult, I've come to realize that if possible, materials used with learners are best if they recognize the unique way that learners process information. If they are materials that learners find easy to use, engaging, and that just explain things in a way that they can really understand them. That actually taps into something I'll be talking about in the next episode, and that is cognitive load, the extraneous load of cognitive load. The extraneous load are all the outside things that are going on when someone is learning, and so the curriculum has to be organized in a way that makes sense for the learner's brain. Speaking of learners, teachers matter in that too. You will be using these materials. It's perfectly okay if a material doesn't work well for you to not consider it. You need to make sure that you will find the materials easy to explain things from and easy to teach from. The first step to narrow the field of choices is to make sure your materials are secular. You're here, so I'm going to assume that you're looking for evidence-based materials. To ensure your materials meet this standard, you're going to want to avoid curriculum that changes the content from what is accepted by practicing experts in a field. This can be done by omitting information, misrepresenting it, or changing facts to be in line with religious doctrine. If you're wondering if a program is secular, you can either ask in the comments of this episode and we'll let you know, or you can go into the See Homeschoolers Facebook group and ask in there. It's also a great place to get that information. Even if you're not someone who uses curriculum extensively, I recommend you have it for all core subjects. You should think of curriculum as a guide. You can use it exactly as it's laid out, or you can use it as a planning guide for what core content should be covered and what foundational skills build on each other. That's something that experienced curriculum developers put a lot of thought into when they are writing curriculum. By getting the core curriculum first, you can get an idea of how much time those things will take before looking for electives. School should be manageable. Okay, I'm going to repeat that because if you're a homeschooler, you need to hear this. School should be manageable for you and your learners. Homeschoolers often want to do all the things. I was so guilty of that. It's overwhelming for your learner, for you. It can make it feel like it's school all the time. Everybody gets frustrated. Don't do that. Take care of the core curriculum first, then look for electives, and don't pile them on if it's just too much. So you've got your list of materials that are evidence-based. You've figured out what core subjects you're going to teach this year. The next step is finding materials that are a good fit for your learner. Now, I'm not going to go into detail in this video about that because I actually have 2 episodes that focus on the how and the why of getting to know your learner. And at the end of this video, we will have a pop-up slide so that you can go directly to those if you need help with that. When you're homeschooling your children, it's really important that you get to know who they are as a learner. The benefits of starting with a focus on customization that honors the unique way that your children access and process information are substantial. Choosing curriculum that is a best fit for your learner builds confidence as learners feel recognized and valued. As their confidence grows, so does their self-assurance as they see themselves as learners. It's empowering, and it's more likely that your learners, when they feel this way, will take on new challenges and actively participate in the learning journey. So what I'm talking about here has long-ranging benefits as learners come to see themselves and the way they learn is important. If you think about it, this is key to mentoring your child to be a lifelong learner, and almost every homeschooler I've ever talked to, that's one of their goals. This nurturing of individual strengths and recognition of personal learning strategies and working to optimize the materials that you choose to play into those will lead to a deeper and more meaningful connection to the educational material for your child based on what they're studying. The personalized approach that I'm talking about ensures that material is accessible and engaging, which helps to reduce the frustration and anxiety that some children associate with learning. Finding curricula that optimizes learning ensures each learner receives what they need for continuous academic and skills-based growth. This benefits emotional and social development as this approach values and acknowledges the unique contributions of each learner, bolstering self-esteem and helping children see themselves as a learner who is actively engaged in the act of learning. This actually benefits you, the teacher, because happy children are easier to teach and they learn more. So there's a lot of benefits to you, the educator, by using this personalized approach. Taking the time to get to know your learner has a lot of benefits. One is that it eliminates the trial and error, so it's going to take you less to find something that's a really good fit for your child. Now, as a part of that, you're going to want to be really systematic. What do you like? What don't you like? What doesn't work? Take notes. Be specific about the things, the pluses and the minuses. Sometimes you can't find something that's a perfect fit, and so you're going to look for what has the most pluses and the fewest minuses and choose in that way. And you're going to want to make sure that you're not choosing for yourself, that you're choosing for your learner. It's really easy to figure out what would work for you, and I've got to remember, you're an adult. So what would work for you now might not have worked for you when you were your child's age. So really key in on your learner as a part of that. You're going to want to be thoughtful about the delivery method. Hey, some kids online is great. Other kids can't work online. They need reading, writing, doesn't have an auditory component. All of these are really important for you to take into consideration. In fact, this is one of the first things I do when I'm working with a young child. Now, by the time somebody comes to me, there usually is something going on and the parent's concerned. And when I give help, I try to figure out how the child primarily accesses and processes information, because a lot of times it's just not being delivered in a way that is a good fit for them. Maybe they need to be movement as they're learning their letters, which is something I just did recently. Maybe they need you to minimize and don't work on 4 letters at a time, work on 1. All of these things seem little, but they actually have a huge effect on the person's ability to learn, to put one foot in front of the other, to go the next page with. Now, there's all-in-one curriculum and there's single subject. We know from the survey data, most of our community chooses single subject. In other words, you pick curriculum for each subject individually. The all-in-one curriculum is much easier from an organizational standpoint, and if time is of the issue, it's really a good choice for you. If you want to optimize so that you pick the perfect subject, remember, perfect's an opinion word there, the perfect subject in science or math or art or language arts, then you're probably going to want to single subject. Just play it by ear. So in the homeschool community, most curriculum, even single subject curriculum, is built around a philosophy of how learning best happens. For all-in-one curriculum, it's learning in a big holistic sense. For single subject, it's how best learning happens within the context of that subject. So finding the best fit materials for your child also requires that you give some thought to the philosophy. And it's not just for your children as far as the philosophy, it's also for you. If you really don't feel that that's how best learning happens, then something might not be a good fit for you. But if you really do agree, at that point, you then need to make sure that it's a good fit for your learner. I happen to start homeschooling using a philosophy that wasn't a great fit for my child, and he let me know, luckily. So we quickly backed away from that philosophy. So you're going to want to be really thoughtful. And if you're struggling in your homeschool journey, give a look at the philosophy and make sure that that's not what the problem is for your child. Good luck on your search for the best fit curriculum. If you have any questions or there's any input that I can give you, please ask in the comments and I'll get on and answer. Join me next time for more practical how-to information to help you successfully homeschool your child. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, click the notification button. Thanks a lot.